The journey from Nazareth to Bethlehem would have been long and lonely. Mary and Joseph were working-class teenagers from a blue-collar town, and everybody knew that nothing good comes from Nazareth. Unmarried and expecting a baby, they had little hope of finding help along the way. The angel had told them that everything would be okay, but his promise was now 9 months old, and the angel was nowhere to be seen. They were exposed and vulnerable. They were alone. Mary and Joseph knew darkness well. They knew a kind of darkness that is largely unfamiliar to us, the kind of darkness that consumes the horizon, the kind of darkness that hides predators in its shadows. Along the way, Mary and Joseph also encountered the darkness of oppression and indifference, darknesses that we know all too well. The first Christmas miracle is that Mary and Joseph made it to Bethlehem at all. The second is that they survived their time there. Our predecessors in the faith have softened our image of Jesus' birth with layers of paint. Botticelli added brightness, Caravaggio added excitement, Rembrandt added warmth. But the first Christmas would not have been anything like these paintings. Pregnant Mary had just ridden 80 miles on a donkey. There would have been no light in the stable at all, nor any meaningful defense from the wind. The soldiers of Herod were gathering and were soon on their way. Bethlehem was a dark place that first Christmas night. Yet it was through that cloven sky and into those dark streets that God shined his everlasting light. And it is from that place of deep darkness that our world is illumined even to this day. St. Luke, who gives us the familiar and poetic story of shepherds being led by a star, describes the coming of Christ's light in this way. The angel of the Lord stood before them, and the glory of the Lord shone around them. St. John tells the same story in a different way. John paints no portraits of sheep and oxen. He casts no porcelain angels. Instead, he writes, "The Word became flesh and lived among us. What has come into being in him was life, and the life was the light of all people. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness did not overcome it." John concerns himself with nothing but the timeless truths of this holy night. When the world became too frightening, God came to hold our hands. When the world became too dark, God came to shine a light unlike anything the world had ever seen before. We create a lot of light to illuminate our 21st century lives, but none of it compares to the light that God created on that bleak midwinter night. Burning bulbs and glowing screens can hold the shadows back for a moment, but when the bulb breaks or the power fails, darkness rushes right back in. We need to be careful not to mistake our artificial lights for God's true light, love's pure light, the yonder shining infant light. Even the brightest human light is temporary, and it has no power to eradicate fear. The world has been a dark place this year. We have known the sort of darkness that human invention cannot push back. We are back in Bethlehem's stable, exposed and vulnerable, without light or defense from the wind, with evil lurking in the shadows. Yet in these dark streets, Christmas comes once more. On this night, in the midst of a troubled world, all is calm and all is bright. I wish that every night could feel like Christmas Eve, when the warmth of this sanctuary reminds me that all is not lost. Good people gather, the din of the world hushes, and our age-old story inspires again the hope of future possibility. God holds our hands tightly on Christmas Eve. The ancient and eternal light of our lives shines forth brightly, and darkness trembles as it gives way to glory. May it always be so. Amen.